things a traditional way, right? Going to college, getting the corporate job, and then not doing that, doing something way different than anyone else is doing, and people seeing my success, like, what the hell? Like, how's Devan doing this? Like,
he have built 2 wholesale companies to over $150K a month.
if I get into real estate at 22 and I just stay consistent, I'm going to be worth something when I turn 50.
Most people, they get, analysis paralysis. They go and start taking so many courses, so many modules, and they get confused. They see wholesaling, they see novation, subject to, and they know real estate, but they only done 2 deals.
I was just reading a bunch of books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, and all these wealth building books. And I just noticed that the common denominator in all those books was real estate, real estate, real estate. And
started as a leads manager.
And then I ended as a COO.
Because I like that perspective. I'm the same way. So like you said, you can't go out with your friends because you can't enjoy the time because you're constantly like thinking about work.
I'm doing this real estate thing. Give me your advice. And he said, option number 1, you can go.
Guys, guess who I have with me today? We're talking to Devan. You guys may not know who he is, but this is a guy you definitely need to know. He have built 2 wholesale companies to over $150K a month. We know how hard it is to scale up one company past $100K a month in wholesaling. He's done it twice with 2 different companies, also done over 40 flips, and he's doing new construction right now, which is kind of crazy. But guys, it's a pleasure to have somebody at this level that's doing it in the real estate game that's so virtually integrated to be joining us on this podcast today. So Devan, thank you so much for joining me today, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
No worries, man. You've accomplished a lot. And before we get into all of your acclimates and everything that you've done, you want to kind of introduce yourself a little bit?
For sure. Yeah. My name's Devan Carroll. Live in Charleston, South Carolina. Hence the sunburn. Didn't wear sunscreen this weekend, but I've been living there for 4 years, originally from New Jersey, the Jersey Shore, then went to school in the South, and fell in love with Charleston, so that's home for now.
Okay, dude, I love that. Charleston, really good dude, got some puppy, got a nice little golden, not a golden doodle.
2 Goldens.
Oh, 2 golden retrievers. Beautiful. He loves them. Like, that's the only reason why he's a client, because I saw the dogs, and I was like, hey, I want the dogs to get rich.
Damn right.
But so Devan, I'm going to go a little bit about his backstory, what he's accomplished, and then what's his next goals are, guys. That's how I'm going to structure the podcast, so we have a little bit more structures. You guys probably have watched the previous ones. Like, this guy Courtney's all over the place. So Devan, if we were to break it down, who were you in high school?
Yeah, in high school, an athlete, basketball, football, lacrosse. My main goal was to play Division I lacrosse, so was grinding, practicing 5 days a week, playing year round. My summers were all just tournaments, tournament traveling to Maryland, Delaware, even down to Texas, all over the place for lacrosse tournaments. And that was my main goal, was to get a Division I scholarship.
Did you?
I did. And I did it for a year. It was a small school up in Connecticut, Quinnipiac University. Did it for a year. Then I didn't love it. It was freezing cold, practice at 7 a.m., 5-degree weather. The school, it's a great school. It was a small liberal arts school. Tuition was about $70,000 a year. I had like a 25% scholarship, so we were still paying still paying $50K out of pocket.
Oh, wow.
And I was miserable up there in
Really?
Connecticut.
Okay.
And all my friends were down south at, big SEC schools, having fun, watching football, paying half of what I was paying, even with a scholarship. So
did you end up graduating from college?
Yeah, so I was at that school up in Connecticut, and then I transferred to Clemson, which is in South Carolina.
South Carolina. Is it close in Charleston?
It's actually 4 hours north, so it's real close to the Georgia border, in the upstate of South Carolina with the mountains and everything. And then did Greek life, played club lacrosse there. Started the entrepreneurship club there, which kind of gave me that kick. And then ended up moving down to Charleston right when I graduated.
Okay, you said you started a entrepreneurship club.
Yeah, it sounds a lot more glamorous than it really is, but essentially me and another kid in the fraternity, we always had the entrepreneurship bug. They had just come out with a new major, which was business management with an emphasis on entrepreneurship, right? So we started this entrepreneurship club, and essentially we were just having, alumni from the fraternity, and then which led to just alumni of Clemson that were entrepreneurs. They would come in once a month and speak and tell us their story and tell us how they launched their entrepreneurial journey, the hardest parts, and just giving us advice on, how we can go ahead and become entrepreneurs one day. Oh,
dude, that's kind of awesome. And that kind of gave you that bug, or you always had the entrepreneurship spirit inside of you?
I always had it inside me, but I never knew what the vehicle was, right? I never knew what kind of entrepreneur I was going to be. I just knew that I wanted to own my own business and I wanted to make money. So let's figure out how I'm going to do that.
What was your first entrepreneurship story?
So it honestly, it was wholesale real estate. What I'm currently doing. Like I, did what everybody does, what you're supposed to do, right? I went to college, got good grades, got the good job, the corporate job. I was working as a corporate accounting and finance recruiter right out of school, which sounds like a fancy job, but I was just cold calling people, trying to poach them from other companies, CPAs, tax accountants, financial advisors, things along those lines. And in that role, it really pissed me off because I could do my job 100% correct. And my manager could do their job 100% correct. And then the client, you know, the hiree could just say, oh, actually, I'm just going to stay with my current company. And then, you know, you're just like, what the hell do I do now?
Yes,
you know, there was so much that was out of my control. So while I was in that role, and that role got me to Charleston, it's really hard to find jobs there. There's no big industry there. It's either, you know, medicine or law pretty much, or
in
construction.
Charleston?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no banks or anything like that. So it's hard to get jobs there. So I took that role.
But it's a very rich neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a very rich area. Yeah, I heard the whole city. I've never been, but I heard like the city is everybody driving in G-Wagons, Range Rovers. Is that true?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
It's very, very, very expensive area. It's just a lot of old Southern money, though. You know?
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No new like startup tech or anything like that. It's all just old family money.
Okay. And they're kind of like retiring, going out there, chill by the water. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and you stumbled into real estate. Around what age?
So it was when I was in that role. Well, it all goes back to the Entrepreneurship Club because there was this one speaker, Steve Edwards, who just really stood out to me. He's an Ironman, a pilot, an author, a millionaire, a developer, all these things. I'm like, dude, this guy's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So he and I kind of like latched on to I guess I latched on to him, and I was just always picking his brain, and he was always pushing real estate. Then I said, well, I can't just go into real estate out of school. I have no money, no experience. You know, if I go residential route, you know, I'm going to be commission based only. I can't do that. So I took the recruiting role, and he told me not to. And then 8 months into that, or it was 6 months into that role, I called him. I was like, all right, Steve, you're right. I'm miserable. And within the months leading up to that, I was just reading a bunch of books, you know, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, and all these wealth building books. And I just noticed that the common denominator in all those books was real estate. Doctors were becoming millionaires through real estate. Lawyers were becoming millionaires through real estate, not their trade, right? So I said, all right, if I get into real estate young, at the time I was 22, if I get into real estate at 22 and I just stay consistent, be average for 25 years, I'm going to be worth something when I turn 50, right?
Yes.
So then I reached back out to Steve. I said, all right, I'm doing this real estate thing. Give me your advice. And he said, option number one, you can go work for, you know, get your license, work for a retail brokerage, and just specify on the investment side. Really be a bird dog, be hunting opportunities and just selling them to flippers or buy and hold investors, et cetera. And then kind of graduate from there. Or I could go ahead and just bootstrap it, go to YouTube University, learn how to do wholesale real estate, right? Lowest barrier to entry. Or if I had some money that I was willing to play around with, I could go ahead and pay for proximity, right? Join a mentorship, join a coaching program. So knowing that I was making like $50K a year in the recruiting role, so I didn't have much money to spend. I was just moved in with my girlfriend at the time, had the dog. So I was like first few months in the real world, and I had $11,000 to my name, and I spent $10,000 of those dollars on an education course.
Did you? Okay. Yeah. So before we get into that, because I'm the same way. Like I would go broke trying to figure it out. Like especially when I started, you know, I was trying to like, dude, I got to figure this out. I'm trying everything in my power to figure this out. Did you get pressure from your parents when you decided to say, hey, I know I went to college. We know we had paid all this intuition and we paid everything to make sure I can go to college, you know, apartments, food, and I'm giving it all up, going all in on entrepreneurship. Like, your family was like, let's go, or they was like, get a job? How was that?
It was kind of in the middle because my parents are both entrepreneurs as well.
Okay.
Blue collar though, they own a pool construction company building luxury swimming pools on the Jersey Shore. So I see how hard they work, and that's a seasonal business. Like in the summer months, they're 7 days a week, you know, 10 hours a day. Like they're hustlers, and there's just a ton of turnover in that industry as well. But I've seen like that change their life, and I see how hard they work. And like I have a great work ethic as well that I get from both of them. But my parents are like amazing work ethic turned blue collar. I look at where I'm amazing work ethic turned white collar.
Ah, okay. And so they weren't pressuring you like, hey, no, get a job. Hey, get financial, because they'd had entrepreneurship. So they know it's like a bunch of ups and downs.
Yeah.
They weren't like, hey, go and get a stable job. They were like, actually go and chase your dreams because you need to go through this and you're young.
Yeah. Well, like getting into the real estate space, like I went and did that coaching platform, right? And then I came to like I was, working all day in the recruiting role, 8 hours, getting home, walking the dog, making dinner, and then I would just grind modules, right? So I would just 4 hours every night, just grinding modules. And it got to the point where I had an amazing foundation of knowledge, but I had never done a deal. I had no money to market. So what am I doing, right? My focus is, majority of my time is doing something that I don't want to do because I have to pay my bills. So I said, I just need to get into real estate, and I need to find something in real estate that has a base salary, right? That just has some sort of base so I can pay my bills.
Yes.
And then I just, within that mentorship group, they forced me to go out into my local market and start networking with local investors. And that's when I found this guy named Nate Hirschberg, who he changed it all for me, right? I basically, he took a gamble on me, came in as a lead manager, just smiling and dialing, making 200 calls a day. But I had a little bit of a base, right? I had a monthly stipend, which allowed me to breathe, and I could really lean into this real estate thing full time. Fast forward, and then that's who I worked for him for 2.5 years, scaled to 150 a month. We were flipping a ton, but I built that entire team. He kind of towards the end of it, he was kind of took more of a back seat and really gave me a lot of control and decision making, which was amazing. And
2.5 years.
Yeah, and
it started as a leads manager,
and then I ended as a COO. Yeah.
Really? So that's where you got all the information. So did you come in, was it the same as far as in you actually learning it as far as in doing it? Like if you start over, would you just jump in and start making the calls, or you get a little bit of information, then start making the calls? Or would you go on like, hey, because I feel like most people, they get, analysis paralysis. They go and start taking so many courses, so many modules, and they get confused. They see wholesaling, they see novation, subject to, and they kind of go all over the place for 2 years and realize like, hey, I know everything about real estate. You talk to them, they know real estate, but they only done 2 deals and they can't figure it out. So if you were to start over, like you'll do it exactly the same way you done it, or what would you do different?
1000%. I mean, I think, the way that and it wasn't this way, but like I'm going to learn on someone else's dollar. And like, there's a huge difference between a mentor and a coach, right? A coach is someone that I pay for direct advice, someone that is only going to help me. I'm paying you to help me win, right? A mentor is someone that they're going to pour their time and effort into me because they believe in me. And if I perform and do well, then they will be rewarded, right? So they're taking more of a risk. So he was a mentor to me. And we've lost a lot of money. It was my first spring. I was like 3 months in, is when rates went from, spring of 22, when rates went from 3% to 7% pretty much overnight. And he got caught holding some stuff, but I obviously learned from that a lot as well. And then that's really what transitioned us into wholesale specific, because we were just doing virtual flipping at that point.
He was holding costs on the hard money. Yeah.
He lost a good bit of money on 3 flips, ironically, on the same street. Due to that, they just sat for way longer and sold about 20% less than what we were expecting them to.
Dang.
And then he was like, all right, we need to wholesale until we get our money back, and then we'll see what happens with the market as well.
Okay, so then after that 3 months, you guys end up figuring it back out? Just only did wholesale specific?
We were just doing wholesale specific. I mean, we'd, flip a property in 4 to 6 months to make $60K. And then we started making assignment fees, 40, 50, 30, $60K. And we said, this wholesale thing's a lot sexier than the flipping thing. I don't need to buy the property. I don't need to manage contractors. I don't need to let it sit on the market. I can just go find a buyer and
20K really quick. Yes. Shorter cash conversion cycles. So I'm piecing all of the thoughts together because everything you told me before the podcast, because he's actually a client with Alpha Media, and I met him in Denver, and he gave a good presentation, and I love it. So I'm piecing it all together because I didn't know this stuff about you. So I kind of want the audience to be able to piece it together too. So I'm finna just start to span out a little bit. So, all right, 2.5 years you with this company. You helped scale it up to 150K a month. You became the COO, so I'm pretty sure you had some hiring experiences. You knew how to work leads. You knew the processes and everything. He was a really great mentor. How was it stepping out and saying, hey, I want to go do my own thing? Or that was the goal? Like, let's say if you hired an acquisition guy and you taught him everything, and then you went and started, and he left and started your own thing. It's like, dude, you're running my company, now you're leaving. How was that conversation? Or was that always the intention of actually leaving?
It never was in the beginning, it was the intention, you know, when I didn't know what I knew by the end of it, right? Where it's just, owning my own business is cool. I'll make way more money, right? Awesome. Oh, that sounds sweet, right? I get to say I'm an entrepreneur. Cool. Where, I
get CEO on my business cards.
And if you ask me then, I'd be like, I'll work for him for 12 months and then I'll go do my own thing back then. And then, it ended up taking 2.5, pretty much 3 years to do that. But really when that time did come, it was, what I've kind of realized in the wholesale space, right? There's that happy median, if you want to go ahead and do, you know, 3 million in a year is a lot different than doing $1 million a year. You know, you might even be more profitable doing $1 million a year versus 5 million a year, right? So we were we were capped out on that, and he didn't want to grow anymore, right? He wanted to stay where we were. Overhead was still pretty big. The team was big, and it was kind of bigger than he wanted. And it was because, you know, the decisions, and I mean, Chandler was my coach throughout this time too when I was COO, and he, you know, I built in a bunch of KPIs and all this stuff, and you know, we were doing very well. So, you know, he wasn't going to tell me to take my foot off the gas at all. But at the end of the day, you know, he's paying for marketing, he's paying for overhead. I don't have any risk, right? I'm COO on a salary and profit share, right? So I don't have any risk. And I just wanted to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And then I also felt like, you know, if we were to, you know, he offered me partnership, and I ran the numbers on partnership, and I said, oh, if I took partnership, I'd have a lot more risk, and I would actually be making less money. So why would I do that, you know? And he kind of told me this. He was like, you might just want to keep your same comp plan, but, you know, you do deserve equity 1,000%. This is what that would look like. And then he didn't want me to leave, obviously, but we went back and forth a little bit. And he had a previous business venture that it was 50-50. That didn't end too well. So he was very against 50-50, which I understood. I mean, 51-49 is, you know, the highest that it got. But at the end of the day, I'm sitting there, you know, 23 at the time with a lot of money in my account. I've been making a ton of money doing that, and I, you know, always had this bug to, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be an entrepreneur. So I you know, said, let's do it. You know, there's no better time to do it than now. And hey, if this whole, you know, entrepreneurship thing doesn't work out for me, I got to go get a corporate job like all my friends. Like everybody else in the world, I got to go be average for a little bit until I get back on my feet, and I'm try again.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so how long did it take you to hit so when you stepped out, boom, kind of like negotiations didn't work out, didn't make sense with the money. You're like, man, dude, actually, I want to take on some of my own risk. I want to do my own marketing. I want to manage my own team. Well, you're already managing the team, but manage your own team. How long did it take you to actually go and get started? Like, as soon as you left, you wanted like started doing marketing. You started like, all right, dude, let's go. Like, you hit the ground running, or did you take like a sabbatical? Like, okay, I was just stressed out. Let me go travel for 2-3 months.
No, so right into it. So it was actually it actually worked out very well. So like, you know, and we still get lunch once a month. He's actually lent money to me on some of my deals. Like, he and I are great friends. Everyone thinks that it would have ended super, super ugly, but it didn't. And all the guys that I hired are still working for him. I wasn't going to take anybody with me or anything like that, right? But what he wanted me to do is identify and hire and train my replacement, right? So this was like a 60 to 90 day like offboarding period, if you will. But within that meantime, he didn't care if I were to go and start my own marketing, right? We were heavily reliable on outbound cold call SMS, and those, as you know, it's all about the follow-up. Cash conversion cycle is a lot longer. So he allowed me to, you know, I was still fully employed by him, but I was able to start my cold calling and my SMS campaign to start building some sort of lead flow. And that's when, you know, Jack and Connor actually started working for me, like literally a few weeks before I even made the jump full business and into my own business.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
So
shit.
It was absolutely right into it.
Hold on. So let's say this: you're still employed full time, and you already have like acquisition guys working on like the cold call and SMS leads already before you actually left.
Yeah, and this was in the time where I was, you know, hiring and training the new guy that was taking over for me. So I was kind of splitting time, and it was great. You know, once I finally made that full jump, which ended up being like February of last year, we already had deals on the board. So
okay, you already had stuff in the pipeline before you even quit.
Set to close.
Okay, how long did it take you from making that jump, that initial jump, to you hitting your first 100K month?
Let's see. First one was May or June of last year, so that would have been like 5 months.
5 months, dude. Yeah. And because you had gained the knowledge, you done it right. You're like, hey, I went through all the modules I learned. Then I also went and worked for someone, got the proof of concept, and actually did it, scaled a team, 2.5 years, 3 years, let's just call it 3 years. Done that for 3 years. So when you started off, you already hired guys before you actually even quit. Like, you did it right. Like, that's the way I say, let's like do it right. And what I love about that, because it speaks to your character, you didn't like leave the guy high and dry. You're like, hey, I'm gonna stay for 2 to 3 months after to make sure that you can find somebody to take over my role. Also, I'm not gonna take no talent away, even though I hired these guys to train these guys. It'd probably be easier for me to take them because they came on the
and a lot of them are like friends of mine from college or growing up too.
So it's like, hey, these are basically friends and family. So I brought these guys in because I don't want to leave you high and dry. So that speaks to your character a lot.
Exactly.
Okay, so 5 months in, we do 100K. And when you do that first 100K, were you hiring aggressive, or were you just had Jack and Connor at the time?
So fun fact, in my current business, the business that I own, I've never posted a job ad. It's either, the people that have these, everyone has reached out to me or has been referred to me. Really? So I've never, and I mean, it's, it's interesting, right? Like doing things a traditional way, right? Going to college, getting the corporate job, and then not doing that, doing something way different than anyone else is doing, and people seeing my success, like, what the hell? Like, how's Devan doing this? Like, I want to do that. If I don't know if I want to do it, but I at least want to talk to him. And then I explain my story, and like this whole real estate investing, like just industry, it's not rocket science.
Yeah,
all.
it's not.
You just buy something cheap.
Yeah, and sell it for more. Yeah,
do a bunch of stuff.
Supply and demand. But so, who was your first hire, Jack or Connor?
Jack.
Okay, Jack was your first hire. But you already hired people, so I can't really ask you that question. You already understand, like, interview. I literally think you done it right, dude. If I was to start over, I tell everybody all the time, like, I would go and get a sales job. Like, I wouldn't just jump into it because, for one, I was working a full-time job, so I had to pay for money for marketing. I remember, like, I used to, like, no one knows this on the internet. I used to work at this convenience store. I was a cashier. That's where I think I got my personality from. Yeah. That's how I got really good at sales. This cashier, and I was a barista at Dunkin' Donuts, if you want to call that a barista. So I was
an
there.
Actual Dunkin' Donuts?
Yeah, actually at Dunkin' Donuts. So I was there, and every time I got a check, dude, I was working probably like 60, 70 hours a week, but every time I got a check on my break, I would go into ad accounts, because at the time I was doing e-com, so I go into ad accounts, and like I'm like, all right, yeah, my check is going to be $800 this week, so I'm doing really good, and I just gonna put that money in the ad account, lose it all, and I was just trying with my money, like, because I was trying to drop ship, and I was like just losing all my money over and over and over again. However, I'm glad I did that, but I was stressed. I had like eviction notice on the door. Like, as soon as I have eviction notice and I had to go to court, I paid it. Then the next one was coming. As soon as I had to go to court, luckily I was in Michigan at the time, and I'm like 19 with like 5 eviction notices. If I was in Texas, I probably would have been kicked out, because in Michigan they give you 30 days to pay it. In Texas they give you like, hey, if you don't pay your bill in like 5 days, they put an eviction notice on your door. So it like that. I did it wrong because it cost me a lot of stress, which is now I can overcome a lot of stress now. But however, you still had a business, you still can overcome the same amount of stress I can overcome. It's just I put myself in a tough situation. So if you're thinking about wholesaling, do it some way like Devan. And also, if you do go and work for someone, you can either say, hey, this is the intentions. I'm planning on starting my own thing. I'm here to help you out, help you build your thing up until I get the knowledge, and I want to eventually do my own thing. And don't leave that person high and dry. That's the biggest thing that I got from that story.
Yeah, 100%.
And so you started on wholesaling, 100K a month, on your own, taking more money to the pocket, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
Yeah. But and that's one thing Nate always said. He's like, hey, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And like, yeah, it's not.
Like, I'm sleeping less. You know what I mean? Marketing companies hiring this person. This guy's okay. Now I realize like why he was so stressed out all the time.
Yeah.
Then you transition into doing some flips, and then new construction. I want to get into that because he did a presentation in Denver that I love so much, and he was talking about like the hierarchy of real estate. But let's talk about the flips. Have you when you left that company? You said you guys were doing flips every now and then towards the tail end of it because of what COVID did to you guys. So after that, you started on your own. Did you jump into any flips by yourself?
I did, yeah. I obviously wanted to kind of, I had a big piggy bank, right, from working for him for a while. So, you don't just hit, 100K a month in 6 months like that.
Yeah.
You I poured a lot into marketing. I was, pouring gas on the fire because I knew what worked, right? So,
proof of concept, yeah.
Really just kind of getting proof of concept and like building the foundation of my team, right, was super, super important. And I honestly, like even my dispo guy, he was referred to me by an old friend of mine, and he, started in February, right? So like I jumped full time into the business like late January. Jack and Connor were up and running. Ryan, my dispo guy, he hopped right in February 1st, and then we actually did a team trip that month in March out to the Phoenix Open in Arizona in Scottsdale. And we all were like just getting to know each other. We just had a complete crash course that weekend, and everybody bought in that weekend. And then, kind of the rest is history. They're all still, with me, and, will be for a long time.
Awesome team, by the way. Amazing guys, especially Jack. This is my first time meeting Connor, but I met Jack in Denver. Dude, really good dude, down to earth guy. I can tell a lot by just shaking a man's hand. And he's a stand up guy.
And that's what it is. It's just like having the vision. Like these guys aren't just here to wholesale and like make quick money. Acquisitions is not fun at all. We all know that, right?
Yeah.
So they see the vision of where I want to take this thing. Right. I don't want to wholesale forever. I don't want to do new construction forever. I want to start buying buildings like this and really start building a massive real estate company.
Okay. So let's talk about the new construction. Oh, actually, I want to talk about that hierarchy you had on your presentation.
Yeah.
You were saying something, wholesale is fast money, medium money, long money. Can you give a breakdown if you still remember that presentation you gave in Denver?
Yeah, 100%. I talk about it like weekly, honestly. So Chris Rude, he's the one that came up with this. He's obviously a successful guy in the space, posting a lot, but essentially he views wholesaling as middle school, right? It's the lowest barrier to entry, easy to get into. You don't need a ton of money up front, but throughout wholesaling, right, you're average going to make 15 to 20K on a wholesale deal.
Yep.
But by doing so, once you're in wholesale for a little bit, you're selling to flippers, right? So you learn how to underwrite flips, you're meeting flippers, you're networking with flippers, and in the meantime, you're making money, right? Because you have that direct to seller marketing. Then you can graduate to flipping, which would be viewed as high school, right? Where that same wholesale deal that you would have made 15 on, you're not going to take it down and flip, and you're going to turn what would have been a 15K profit to a 50, 60K profit, right? That same exact deal. And then, graduating onto, say, college would be something like new construction or development or like big flips, like, adding a 2,000 square foot addition, adding a swimming pool, putting 500K into a property and really, turning, again, that 15K wholesale deal into a 250K profit on a new build or a heavy value add flip. And then really the doctorate of it all would be the private money lender, right? That's where everybody should want to be in real estate. They should want to be the private money lender because you're controlling who you're lending your money to. You're getting 15 to 20% on your money, ideally. And worst case scenario, if one of your borrowers stops, you had got a foreclosure on them, you already have all the systems and processes in place to go ahead and finish that project, and you're going to make a ton of money if you have to go that route. It's not fun to do, but
you chose to underwrite and make sure you wanted to land on the deal. So, hey, if this person do renege, don't pay, I got to foreclose on them.
Yeah.
It still would be money in the deal for me.
Exactly.
Dude, I love that. And talk about the cash conversion cycles of them too, because I think that's what you went over in your presentation.
Yeah.
Wholesaling 30 days, then
flips would be, again, like I say, flip is just a standard cosmetic flip, roof, HVAC at the most, cosmetics throughout, 1,500 square foot house, 4 to 6 months, make 50 to 60K. New construction, 12 to 18 months, could be 24 months, depending on how big of a build it is and wherever your jurisdiction is with permitting and whatnot. And then, those are just the deal cycles there.
Okay. And you said you want to eventually get into buildings like this. That's the goal. What's the timeline?
I'm never going to set a firm timeline, but the way that I look at it, right, it's like, wholesale right now is my active cash that allows me to, make my interest payments. Like on my house that I just finished, interest payments were $9,000 a month on that.
Yeah.
Those payments were made with the wholesale business. My new build right now, which, we're on a $3 million loan. My interest payments are around $21,000 a month. Wholesale business pays those interest payments, right? And then, ideally, I need the wholesale right now because I don't have that big lump sum, right? I need like $1 million liquid, then you can really start playing with some stuff because you have that safe money. So, wholesale, flip, new build until I have $1 million liquid. Once I have $1 million liquid, that's when I'll go to deploy to some commercial assets, whether that be multifamily, triple net, anything along those lines.
Which route you want to take more? Multifamily, triple net? What do you think?
I think triple net is definitely the best bet. Finding anchor tenants like a Walgreens, a Five Guys, things along those lines. That's what Steve does. The guy Steve. It all goes back to that entrepreneurship club. That's really what the
Ironman guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I pilot Ironman, all of it. And I'm training for an Ironman. Haven't done it yet, but I'm doing that, and I got to get my pilot license after that, I guess.
When are you supposed to do the Ironman?
It's September 10th, I believe, in Augusta, Georgia.
And you haven't been training?
I have been.
Oh, okay. I was dude, that's coming up. Okay, you ready for it?
Yeah. We're getting there. I was actually supposed to I have like a 3.5 hour bike this week, which I'm not going to do because I'm here.
Yeah.
But that's like 65, 70 miles. So.
Dang.
Yeah.
What's All right, so you're doing the Ironman, guys. If you guys don't know what an Ironman is, it's like, hey, you got to swim, bike. I don't know the distances, but he probably know it. He'll tell you swim, bike, and run.
Yeah, so this one, you always start with a half Ironman, which is a 1.5 mile swim, a 55-mile bike, and then a half marathon, so 13.2 mile run. A good time is under 6 hours. An average time is like, 8. If you're over 8, 9, you probably shouldn't do it.
Really?
Yeah.
So what do you think the most challenging part of the Ironman is?
It depends on your background. I mean, obviously all of it together is the hardest thing.
Yes.
The swim is always first, right?
Yeah.
Then the bike, then the run, right? So
I feel like the swim should be first, because if you just biking and running and you got to swim, you're in the middle, you're going to have a lot of people probably drowning.
You'd rather your legs give out on the run than in the water.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
For me, the swim is the hardest, 100%. I mean, I'm a good runner. The bike, I'm not great on the bike. Like I'm like 18 miles an hour. You really want to be like 20, 21 miles an hour.
Really?
I don't work out legs, bro. I got chicken legs.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, me too. So I'm with you on that.
I don't do leg day at all.
Yeah, I hate it. Skip every day is chest day.
The run, I'll rip. I'll do very well in the run. So.
Okay, so but it's the swim and then the bike and then the run. So if you like the run more, then hey, I'll tolerate the bike, but swimming is going to be the most challenging for me.
And the whole purpose is just like doing something hard and just like proving to myself that I can do it.
I can accomplish it.
There's obviously that too, the accomplishment aspect of it, but more importantly, just like the discipline aspect too, because like living in Charleston with the boat, with the golf cart, the bars, everything like just right there, and just a town, the ratio is 3 to 1 woman to girl, so not a bad.
Sound like a great town right there.
Pretty fun.
Yeah.
So again, it was kind of the thing of like, giving myself something hard to do, proving that I could do it, and then also just not, if I have to wake up in the morning and run a half marathon, I'm not going to go out the night before, things like that.
Okay, kind of like help you stabilize.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, so you think that mental toughness, like you just doing that randomly, is Jack O'Connor doing it with you or no?
They did a marathon with me this past December.
Really?
Yeah.
How was it for him?
It was honestly all 3 of ours first marathon. I had just done like a few Olympic triathlons before that, which is like half of a half Ironman. So I've been in good shape. I've trained a lot harder than them, but Jack and I had $1,000 bet. Well, my bet was actually with Chandler. This is when Chandler was coaching us one-on-one. And Chandler's like, I'm going to put $1,000 on Jack. And I'm like, fuck yeah, you are. Okay. I beat Jack by an hour and 20 minutes.
Did you beat him?
I did, but an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah. And I was like, Chandler, I'm not taking your money.
But
I beat him too bad.
Okay, but dude, I love that. I love the culture, and that's kind of like speaks to everything. So let's talk about your team structure right now. So Jack Connor.
So yeah, obviously me, and then Jack is my COO, right-hand man. Anything from acquisitions, TC, marketing, and dispo as well. And then acquisitions is Connor, Joey, Sonu, Tony, and David.
All on Act.
We have 5 guys in Act.
Okay.
Dave is our most recent hire.
Yep.
He is still in that lead manager role. What I do is, the first 60 to 90 days you're going to be in that lead manager role, and then once you either get,
Is that what you had to do when you first came on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've revised it a little bit, but essentially you're just throwing them to the dogs and, giving them a list.
Let them get cussed out. Let them get all that. Grow some tough skin. Yeah. Before you put them on the inbound leads.
And they got to know what they're getting into. And, once they, hit their metrics there, then they'll be promoted to an AM and they'll start getting new leads and get appointments set for them. And then I have my executive assistant, Alyssa. Then I have my dispo manager, Ryan, and he has a dispo assistant, Ada, who's a VA.
Okay, is this a in-office team or a virtual team?
Virtual, yeah.
How was that, structuring that, especially with the sales guys, 5 Act guys, COO, how is it? Like, are you as involved in like the acquisition meetings, or no, you kind of like letting Jack take the reins and run with it?
Yeah, so Jack, pretty much, I am on all those meetings. I do always assist with underwriting, but when I brought Jack up to that COO position, it was to free up my time to go focus on higher revenue generating activities, which were taking on value add flips as well as new construction, right? I could flip and turn that 15K fee into 50, but if I can do new construction, there's a lot more opportunity, and I'm gonna make minimum 150 to 250 on those,
bigger spreads,
right? So that was really the main goal, to allow Jack to go in there, so that I could then build the business as well, and that's what we'll continue to do as we go from level to level to level. I'll be the one that's gonna go out and pioneer our new venture, right? And then I'm gonna learn it, and then once I have it systemized and dialed in, then Jack's going to take it over. Then I'm going to go find something else.
And then he's going to take it over. Like you said, your right-hand man. So, like, how do you guys keep culture really good with a virtual team? Because I know a lot of people say, hey, man, culture is the best way to build it is in the office. They may be right there, but I have my whole team is virtual as well.
Yeah.
Like, we do little things like, hey, every Friday we'll get on and we don't even talk about nothing, don't talk about the clients.
Yeah.
What we'll do is just, like, play games. So they'll play games like team games, like the search, like, hey, they take a picture of a random street and you have to figure out which country it's in. Like they play little cool games like that because everybody's virtual. It's like, hey guys, let's put work aside and because the team is all over like all over the world. So it's like, hey, where you guys think this is at?
Yeah.
So what do you guys do to keep culture at all time high? Like, hey, let's meet up and do a marathon. It's like that.
So last year we did, like I set a really big goal to do like a quarterly trip once every quarter, right? So we did Arizona, and then Q2 we were scaling, so I was putting all the money back into the business. Didn't have money to do that, and then Q3 I brought them all to Charleston, which was good, and then I did Charleston again Q4, just because it made the most sense because I'm already there, and 3 of my other employees are in Charleston too, so I'm only paying for 6 flights instead of 10 flights.
Really? Okay.
And then this year we are just scaling insanely right now, so. I told them, once we hit our next 200K month, then we'll do a really cool trip.
Let's go. Where to? Like abroad or like?
It'll probably be somewhere here, but I'll let everybody bring their significant other, and I'll pay for everything.
Oh, a good trip.
Yeah, it'll be a good trip like that.
Personally, I prefer that. It's like, hey guys, instead of me paying office rent, how about this? You work from home, get really deep connections with your significant others. Work from home just as long as you're working. I just feel like most of those guys don't work, but it seemed like Jack didn't work. I know he worked his ass off. Your team works their ass off, and my team worked their ass off. And that money I'll be paying with office rent, I just put it into an account, and that'll be for our vacation. Like we can go on the vacations as a team. We get together for 1 week, and we just actually work together, bring everyone, and we just kind of vacay. Yeah. Like, we do that twice a year, depending on, what that number look like.
And what, like you asked me, like, do we do any like weekly meetings or monthly meetings of like free time, like a powwow, coffee hour, happy hour? We don't. And I have asked them if we wanted to. And I just think it's just speaks to the point where like I just have they're just so bought in and everybody's so hungry. Where like we were running around like 4 ACT meetings a week, right? And my guys were in meetings probably 6 hours a week just in acquisitions, and that's 6 hours they're not on the phone. So Connor actually came to me, he's like, hey, like, what's the purpose of this meeting and this meeting? And there's clear purpose, right? Like our pipeline is for accountability, making sure that no lead slips through the cracks. We have a list of your hot leads, your warm leads, what was hot 2-3 weeks ago. We're going to make like just bringing that up, right? Yeah. And then we ended up, condensing that meeting to about like those 6 hours of meetings to 3 hours of meeting. Now my guys have more time to go call, on a weekly basis. And as a result, they're closing higher and we're getting more deals. They don't really care to, hop on a happy hour. Oh, what are you doing this weekend? Yeah. I want to just make my freaking call so I can go start my weekend. Like you guys, but like, hey, let's all we're here to work. Yes. We're going to get our shit done. Yes. And then we're going to go have fun.
Dude, I love that. That's like I said, it speaks to your culture. Yeah. Like I said, I just met Connor. I'm looking forward to getting to know him this week. Dude, it's going to be really awesome because I already met Jack. Yeah. He's a good guy. All right. So next steps transition to the triple net, kind of like Steve did. Then get your pilot license after this Ironman.
That's expensive. That takes a lot of time. Like right now, it's just like Hormozy always talks about like seasons, right? Like season of no, season of this. And I just feel like going out and like hanging out, like watching football at the bars with all like my college buddies, like doesn't do anything for me right now. Like I'm there thinking about work, doing work. So like it's just grind time. We're just pedal on the metal all the time. That's really the only thing that we're focused on. And if I'm traveling, it's either, for family purposes or a work event.
Do you think, because I like that perspective, I'm the same way. So like you said, you can't go out with your friends because you can't enjoy the time because you're constantly like thinking about work. And I know Alex Hormozy, I was listening to his podcast one time. He was like, hey man, me and Layla, we had went to this vacation. I think it was somewhere in Switzerland. And they had like this nice hotel with a great view. He said he walked outside, looked at the view and was like, this is really beautiful. But I really don't care. I just want to go home and work. And so I just got back from Costa Rica probably like 2 weeks ago. But before that, right after that, I ended up going to Mexico because I love to travel. But I finally experienced that. And I kind of feel guilty. So I walked out. I don't know if you get the chance to see the view on my story. So I walk out and it's like just the jungle right here. And then you see the ocean, great view, infinite pool overlooking it. Anybody else would have been like, oh, wow. I was leaving like, oh, wow, for like 5 minutes. Yeah. But then afterwards, I'm like, let me get to work. Let me call the team. Let me start working. And sometimes I feel guilty for it. Do you feel guilty for you like, man, dude, I don't want to go and actually hang out with my friends at the bar and get drunk and watch football, and we're not going to talk about nothing. They're probably going to talk about the girls they slept with. They're probably going to talk about how much they hate their job. They're probably going to talk about all this low productive stuff. Whereas like, dude, when I'm around you guys, I sometimes feel like I'm getting dumber.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And then it's all like, I feel like I could do like, especially like Denver, and then like here, it's like, I still can go out, have fun, but I'm doing it with people that are doing what I'm doing, and the level of conversation. We're talking about building our businesses. We're talking about things we want to do, problems in our business currently, and we're getting advice, and we're also having fun. We're like, it is super important. Like the burnout thing is real.
Oh yeah.
I've lightly felt it.
Yeah.
And then I went on a trip because I was like, I've heard terrible things about getting too burnt out, and I don't want that to happen. And I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. I'm just obsessed with this. I'm just obsessed with this business, and I want it to do as well. And to your point on the view, like I want to work my ass off so that this is my reality. This isn't just a vacation.
Now, I'm not Airbnb, and somebody else get to live this every day of their life because they work their ass off. Like me, I only get it for like 8 days.
Like all around Charleston, I know like where like, all right, I want to be living in this exact house with this exact view and this exact dock by the time I'm 30. When I'm 40, I'm going to move up to this house. And then when I'm 50, I'm going to do this house. And then I'm going to have like, I just so clear with my vision board and just know what I want.
And nothing's stopping you. Cause the more like laser focus you get, the more tunnel vision you get, is like everything else just become irrelevant. Like you said, like I can go out, like when I'm with Nico, Chandler, JT, you, where we can go out, we can go to the bar and sit down and drink, but we always talk business. No matter what, we're like, hey, dude, we're not even trying to talk business. Like I get in the car with Nico earlier today. Literally soon we sat in the Uber. We're going to the airport to pick up his bags. He said, yeah, man, you know the JB thing we were talking about right here? Man, we could do this. You just send them to me. I'm like, Nico, I got to take calls right now. He's like, dude, I'm like, we sitting down. And that's the first thing he bring up was like, hey, man, let's JV. Hey, what would the split be? We got the structure. You know, man, dude, we're really good people. But this is, I talk to Nico a lot. And the number one thing Nico say to me a lot is, man, you're a really cool guy. I love to break bread with you. And like, that's literally probably 90% of the conversation. You're a really cool guy. We just got to figure out how to keep breaking bread together. So like you can go out to a bar, we can drink, have a good time. Like I posted a lot on my story, like on my Instagram, and you see the same guys are in there. But everybody is, yes, we go out, we get messed up, we make jokes, we create stories, experiences, but every time I come back from one of those going out trips, I happen to make more money, happen to actually keep more money, happen to actually figure out what my next step is. So that's why I probably don't. Honestly, I was talking and it was kind of sad. Somebody made me feel bad for it. And let me know your thought process on this. I was like, you know, all of my friends either pay me or I pay them. And they were like, that's kind of sad. And I was like, is it though? And I was like, because if they're my friends, I pay them a lot of money because it's like paying for coaching, paying for proximity, paying for something like that. That's how I know them. Or they pay me and they're a client. But I'm like, she's like, it's kind of sad. I'm like, I don't think it's really that sad. I think it's just.
It just shows that you add value to them and they add value to you.
Yes.
You know, someone that thinks that that's a sad thing. It doesn't have the right. They're just have not experienced what we've experienced and have not, you know, hey, I pay you $15K, I'm going to make $250K by doing that. If I take action, right? Because you're giving me the systems and processes of how to, you know, nail in Facebook marketing, right? You know, and I understand that. Someone like the person who made that comment doesn't understand that. It's not that I'm paying you to hang out with you. I'm paying for proximity.
The value that you can bring.
I'm not even paying. I'm making an investment. That I can write off with my business.
I like that. Like, so basically we're hanging out and whenever we drink, guess what? It's a write-off as well.
Exactly.
Free liquor.
That's why I hang out with entrepreneurs, because it's free.
You get to drink all day. Okay, so let me ask you this before we kind of like wrap this up. So Devan, without the Rolex, without the boats, without the nice house, guys, by the way, you need to check out his house. Freaking really dope. It's kind of like a dream house. I love what you did there. Without your house, without you in lacrosse, without anything, what you have achieved, because I know that's what we talked about this entire podcast. But without that, who are you? Who are you really?
I am.
You can't say what you do for work. You can't say your bank account. You can't say, you know, what you achieve. Like, who are you?
That's a good question. I asked you if I needed to prepare anything. This would have been the question to tell me about. Who am I? I mean, I think I'm a very down-to-earth person. I want people to win, and I love to laugh, dude. I love laughing. I love cracking jokes. Me and my friends, we take mushrooms a lot, and we just laugh our asses off.
Dude, I know. So first time us meeting Devan, guys. So he's really a laid back dude. If you guys, let me tell you guys a little bit about this. First time me meeting Devan, you know me, I'm very bubbly. If you don't know, now you know. But I'm a very bubbly guy. We joke a lot. Devan walks into the house because the first time we was at Denver, we all stayed in the same house. Devan comes in and he's kind of like, all right, I don't know none of these people. So Devan's like, all right, I'm kind of filling us out. And we're just instantly cracking jokes because I'm in the middle of a conversation. So I'm cracking jokes with JT. I think Nico is there. So we all cracking jokes. And Devan's just like, hey guys, how's it going? I'm Devan, shaking the hand, formals and all that. Literally the next day, probably like 12 hours, Devan's up giving his presentation. And I'm sitting back on my laptop, and all I hear through the mic is, Courtney's a bitch. Mid-presentations, like 60 people in this room. I look up, and I'm like, who was that? And all I see is Devan just stare me directly in the eyes, and everyone in there is laughing. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about, like cracking jokes, and you're a really down-to-earth dude,
Exactly.
man. Dude, I love that, because I was like, Devan is actually cool. He's like, I feel these guys out. Let me call Courtney a bitch in front of 60 people. I'm like, damn, bro. I just had to put my hat down.
Yeah.
Like, just put my head on the desk. And I was like, well, I mean.
My dad always said, it's like, if I don't mess with you, I don't like you. I only mess with the people that I like. And,
Yes.
you know, it's always just to crack a joke.
Yeah, just to have a fun, make somebody laugh. And that's all it is. So that was a really good, that was a good point, because this quote been stuck on my mind for like the last 2 weeks. A guy can overcome anything life throws at you, any obstacle, except the lack of meaning. That's the only thing you cannot overcome. So it's like, if I took away everything, strip you down to the core, strip you down, you don't have your achievements, you don't have where you came from, you don't have nothing. Who are you? That's a really deep question. And I think that's a question that someone have to ask themselves for the rest of their lives. Because the moment you lack meaning, and that's just when a lot of people get in trouble. That's when they find drugs. That's when they try to find it and hide it inside of women. That's when, like, life doesn't seem congruent, I guess, if that makes sense.
And if you like asked me that question, honestly, like probably 6 to 8 months ago, I would say like, I am, you know, I'm always the leader in my group. I'm always the one making the plans. I'm always the one calling the Uber, the one booking this, doing that, like paying for like just taking the initiative, right? I'm always like that. And, you know, just since like some reflection and a lot of like book reading, I'm always find myself being the last person to speak now, right? I'm always, you know, I'm going to hear everyone first before I speak. And you learn a lot that way, and you save yourself a lot too.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yeah, because dude, I'm listening. I'm gonna actually show you these books after this, because it's called like the Great Mental Model or something like that. It's called like the Mental Model, and it was another one that I literally just listened to on the plane over here. And I started to talk last because, as you know, I'm bubbly. I'm very talky first.
Yeah, and I always want my opinion to be heard because I know it's good.
Yeah.
And if I have a joke, I know it's funny too. So I want to just get it
Let me
out.
tell you my joke right now.
Yeah.
Right. But I heard this quote, and I found myself like, for one, like 2 weeks ago in the book I'm listening to, he's like, you don't have to accept the invitation or RSVP to every argument that you're invited into. Mm-hmm. So normally though, it's kind of like, I know my point, let me prove you wrong. So I just want to get in every argument all the time because I want to win the argument. But it's like, dude, you really don't have to RSVP to like, or you have to accept the invitation to every argument you're invited into. And then I was literally on the plane. He said something, I had to replay it like 3 times to get this right. He was like, if you're arguing with a fool, an onlooker couldn't tell the difference. So I was like, okay. Because I guess arguing with people under you. So when that person said, oh man, dude, that's kind of sad. I'm like, probably to you. Like, it's sad that, hey, my friends pay me or I pay my friends, but I have a really good time with them and we make a lot of good money, like a lot of good money together. Mm-hmm. So to you, it doesn't, I can't defend my point right now on why I do it, but I just rather choose not to. Mm-hmm. So
you could also just say that it's not worth your time.
Yeah, literally. Because it's like, I'll be arguing with you. Somebody else say, oh, Courtney, you're sad, you're miserable. I'm like, dude, actually, I'm fucking happy. Like, I'm chilling out here right now, and then I'm going to Charleston. He's going to give me the keys to his house, to his boat, and all of that, man. I got that on the podcast, guys. That's a deal right there.
You want.
Yes. All right. So, Devan, one question I want to ask you, because you tried the service. If someone is on the fence about using alpha media, what would you tell them?
I'd tell them do it. I mean, Nikita was great. She helped me out a ton, and you got your stuff's dialed in. You know, I was on a call with them last week, and I was like, Courtney is always saying how he's always running all these creatives, he's always doing all these tests, but here we are 60 days later, and we're still running the same ads. And then Nikita goes and shows me, hey, we've been running all these creatives and we're still posting the same ones because they're still performing the best. And I go, thank you.
Yeah.
And then I was like, damn, see, I kind of feel like a jerk right now.
Yes. Yes.
But they're always one step ahead of the curve. His employees are great. They're very dialed in, and communication is super key. And I mean, you guys even have a reinvestment plan for me, right? At month 3, I should be making X. And then if I deposit X, if I reinvest X amount, then by month 6, 7, 8, it'll be X. So super, super dialed in, very transparent. And you guys push us to be better, right? I hate filming ads. I don't love being on camera, but you guys are making me do it, and I'm doing it, and it's working, right? So
let's go.
Pushing me to be better, and obviously increasing my business as well.
Let's go, brother. I love to hear that, guys. So there you go, guys. You have it. The one and only podcast from the one and only man right here, Devan. Devan, how can they find out more about you? Drop your Instagram. I don't know if you're doing YouTube right now. Tell these guys how they can find you.
My YouTube is Deventum REI. Instagram is Dev Carroll, Carroll. I'll send it to you. You can put it in the comments.
Okay, you send it to me, put it in the comments, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining in. Like I said, that was a fucking amazing story from high school to where he's at now. We're gonna do one of these in 10 years, and then he's gonna give me a loan for $500 million. All right. See you guys in the next one. Bye.